let's make some chunky chocolate hobnobs. One of my all-time favorite biscuits, hands down the best biscuit to dunk. They're oaty, they're buttery, they're sweet, they're just delicious, and they're easy to make. So preheat your oven to 160 Celsius. And in a bowl, let's combine our dry ingredients. So we're going to start with 150 grams of wholemeal flour. And I add in 125 grams of porridge oats. These are just the porridge oats you get in the tube and you can make in the microwave. I'm not fussy with porridge oats, just throw them in. And do a pinch of salt and then a half a teaspoon of baking soda. Then you want to go with 100 grams of soft brown sugar. I've used dark, I've used light. I prefer light, so when I have light, that's what I'm going to use. And give it all a really, really good stir. Just take a few minutes. Some porridge and some wholemeal flour is chunkier than others, so it is worth just going over it an extra time. Now, butter. I know I have 125 grams in the description, but I will explain. So start with 100 grams of soft butter. If we need the extra 25, I'll show you at the end what we do with that. But we're going to just start with 100 grams of soft butter. And I'm also going to put in 55 grams of golden syrup. You can use honey, you can use like a really thick maple syrup. I'm a Lyle's golden syrup diehard fan, so that's what I'm going to use. Now, wash your hands if you've been petting the dogs, because we're going to get right in there. We need the heat from our hands to try and bring this mixture together. As you can see, it's going to be a dry mixture. We're not going to be rolling this out with a pin and, cutting out little cookie shapes. This is going to be one that we're doing like a burger patty. And if your kitchen is particularly hot, if you're doing this during a warm day, the chances are this will come together perfectly with the butter and the golden syrup that you already have in there. 9 times out of 10 for me, I do need something extra. So you can see there, I've been working it and it's still a little bit like wet sand. Like I'm not going to be able to make a patty out of that. It's going to just crumble. So what I do is I take that extra 25 grams of butter, melt it in my microwave just for 20 seconds. And I'm going to put that melted butter in along with a tablespoon of just regular milk. You can put whatever milk you want. This is just cow's milk. I'd say it'd be nice with coconut milk, but whatever's in your fridge. And then I just get in with a spatula and I try to rub that mixture together up against the wall of the bowl. You'll definitely see a difference. It's going to start looking more willing to cooperate, we'll put it that way. And you might even have to get back in there with your hands, but it's going to hold together much better. So here we go, take 2. A little bit of patience as well. Sometimes it just needs you to, roll it between the palms of your hands and it will come together once it warms up. But this is kind of what you should have, see? So you should be able to get it to come together in a little ball like this where it's not just falling apart with the slightest bit of pressure. So go ahead, when you're at that stage, you're going to smush them down, technical term, smushing, smush them down into like little burger patties. So like I said, we're not going to be flouring our surface and using a rolling pin. It's going to just be a massacre. So smush them down as though you were making beef burgers or black bean burgers. And get them onto your parchment paper lined tray. This mixture, I do chunky cookies, so you can probably see there, like you're going to be able to get more than 5 hobnobs out of this, but I like a chunky hobnob. So this batch is 5 very decent, substantial biscuits. Look at them there. They're so uneven. I'll never be able to make things evenly, but it's grand. As long as it tastes okay, that's all that matters. So there they are. They're going to go into my oven at 160 Celsius. They're going to take about 15 minutes. We just want to see the edges, golden and lovely. Now, I use about 100 grams of chocolate chips. You can use more, you can use less. That's just the weight of this bag. There's no point to buy a second bag of chocolate chips if I can get away with one. And when your biscuits come out of the oven, see them there? They're like just golden around the edges, slight cracking, but they're going to be fragile. I nearly forgot to start recording the video again because I was just distracted by the smell. They're delicious. But Leave them on the tray for a minute, let them cool because they're going to be softer. You don't want to try and transport them. They might break, they might, come apart. Just let them harden on that tray and then you can move them. I've moved them onto like my wooden chopping board to cool a little bit more. We're not going to put any chocolate on while they're still hot. That makes no sense. We need the chocolate to harden. So it's just really being patient. You can just stand and gaze lovingly at them until they're at the right temperature. But what you can do when they're right out of the oven, sprinkle them with a bit of sea salt. I don't know if you can see it there. I've just done a really light sprinkle over them. I know some people are like, that's disgusting and it's so bad for you. Trust me, it adds a little something. Now, they're cool enough. I'm going to put my chocolate chips into a microwave safe container. I'm going to blitz them for just under a minute. I know you're like, they're not done. They are done. It's fine. Those little stragglers will melt. And now my cookies or my biscuits are hard enough to turn over. So this is the underside, nice and blonde. And I tend to, Norman's pretending he's not loitering around looking for some biscuits. So I'm going to go ahead and put the chocolate on the underside because I think they're the uglier side. So let's, cover that in some chocolate. Solve the problem. Now, some people get very creative with this. They dip them in and then they get a little toothpick or a fork and they do like that nice hobnob design you see when you buy them in a packet in the shop. I'm not that creative, nor do I put that much effort into my cookies. These are just going to be to throw in a plate for when my parents come over this evening. So I even tried it for the purpose of the video. I tried to do like the little hobnob design with the fork. It just looks like a child has gotten a fork and dragged it across some melted chocolate on a biscuit. There, see? I tried. Don't say I didn't try. There's my production value. But you're going to want to get these chocolated and into your fridge. Ideally, these are going to be nice and hardened, the chocolate tops, because then you can dunk it into your cup of tea. And, they're nicer that way. That's the way they're supposed to be enjoyed. Of course, if you are like me, you will find yourself tempted. And you may just be a savage and crack into one just to make sure that they're fully cooked, before company arrive. But that's it. That's really as easy as it gets, I think, when it comes to biscuits. No rolling pin, no eggs. Perfect. No fuss. My kind of biscuit. So they are my chunky chocolate hobnobs. I hope you give them a try and I hope you enjoy them.